Welcome to the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast, a show all about reviewing dinosaurs on a scale of 1 to 10 fossils before only the elite terrible lizards make it into the prehistoric cage match. This program is presented by the Stomp Tromp Roar Company and can be heard within all the rock layers across the planet. Grab your dinosaurs and your official scorecard because it's now time to dig for dinosaurs. Here's your Mesozoic host, Dinosaur Ranger Anthony.
Good morning, all my junior paleontologists, and welcome back to the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast. This is your fantastic host, Dinosaur Ranger Anthony, and I can't thank you all enough for listening to my podcast each and every week. It truly means so much to me to see my download numbers continue to grow, just like the Great Pumpkin. And talking about pumpkins, I'm recording this podcast on Monday, October 30th. And tomorrow is, you guessed it, Halloween night. It's gonna be so much fun going out trick-or-treating and doing all kinds of spooky things. Now tonight, my family and I are going to make all kinds of ghost cookies, carve pumpkins, and even go to the haunted garage of terror that someone sets up in my neighborhood every year. It's gonna be such a fun night. But let's carve into this episode a little deeper, shall we? Do you know what the theme for today's podcast is? You don't? Well, let me give you guys a little hint. Where do you go to get your teeth cleaned or to fill that cavity? Do you guys know? Did you say the dentist? If so, then bingo, you're correct. Now you might also be wondering, why in the Brontosaurus are we going to the dentist's office? Well, ask yourself this. How much Halloween candy have you had this week? I bet it was a little bit more than just a few pieces. You don't want any cavities, do you now? I didn't think so. So if you could, please go ahead and have a seat in the lobby and the doctor will be with you shortly. Because on today's episode of the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast, we're visiting Dr. Dimetrodon at the Permian period Dentistry. But before we have a seat in the dentist chair, let's share our dino fun fact, get an update on the dino bus, and give a few shout outs from over the last 2 weeks. Well, you guys, our dino fun fact, although today's prehistoric genus is always associated with the dinosaurs, the Dimetrodon is technically not even a real dinosaur. This is due to a few different factors. First, it lived before the dinosaurs in the Permian period. Second, its legs are built differently. And third, it has a skull with only one skull opening. This means the Dimetrodon is actually closer related to mammals rather than any known dinosaur. True story! Now you guys, the Dino Bus, nothing much to update you guys. We're just still looking for that Dino Dream Bus. And the dinos on the bus go roar, roar, roar! Now, here's a few shout-outs from the last couple weeks, you guys. Shout out to Morning Star Preschool. I went there a couple Fridays ago, had so much fun being Anthony, the mad paleontologist. It was just a dynamite time. Shout out to Vala's Pumpkin Patch. We went there yesterday, you guys. Guess what? It was only like 34 degrees. It was freezing. We were all bundled up, you guys, but I still did my dinosaur Halloween shows for everybody visiting our local pumpkin patch, and it was definitely still a great time nonetheless. A happy 4th birthday to Crew. We went and did his birthday party on Saturday. Had so much fun, you guys, with him, all of his friends, doing all kinds of dinosaur games, activities. I just had a great time. So happy birthday to Crew. Then also, you guys, you're listening to the newest substitute teacher in Millard Public Schools. So shout out to Millard Public Schools District district, you guys. That's also where my wife, Dinosaur Ranger Elise, teaches over at Hitchcock Elementary as the music teacher. So I wanted to give a shout out to MPS, you guys. I am their newest substitute teacher, and I can't wait to do my first class. I can do any of the grades from kindergarten all the way up to senior year of high school, and I'm just using this to kind of help fill up some of those off days when I don't have any shows to go out and do, any projects here at my house. So it gets me out of my house a little bit, out of my dinosaur cave, and I still get to be working with kids each and every day and letting them grow and bringing their minds to life and educating them more rather than just dinosaurs, but all subjects in the school, you guys. So I'm super excited to be a substitute teacher. Now, you guys, I think the dentist just called your name. So let's head over into the office, you guys, and take a seat in the dentist chair. Now, don't be scared, you guys, because this prehistoric creature doesn't bite too hard, right? Well, maybe it actually did. Anyways, let's grab our toothbrush and our official scorecard because it's teeth cleaning time. Welcome all my junior paleontologists. You're here at the Permian period dentistry, and I'm Dr. Dimetrodon. And thank you so much for having a seat in my dentist chair. Now, as you know already, today's genus is the Dimetrodon. The Dimetrodon, and we always see it in all kinds of dinosaur books, movies, TV shows, and toys. But as you know already, this one is technically not even a real dinosaur and just another prehistoric creature. Now, this dinosaur name, or this prehistoric creature name, the Dimetrodon, means 2 measures of teeth. 2 measures of teeth, and that is our Dimetrodon. And we'll get to those weird teeth here in a little bit as we're cleaning those pearly whites for today's episode. Now, what type of creature is the Dimetrodon? We know it's not a dinosaur. It's actually something called a synapsid, and that means it only has 1 set of fenestra, or those skull openings. Now, it's a synapsid, like I mentioned, and then it falls into another subgroup, the pelycosaurs. And those are mammal-like reptiles before it falls into the subgroup or the family, the sphenacodontids. Now, how big is this creature? How large and how heavy was our Dimetrodon, you guys? Well, this creature is up to 15 feet long, or 4.6 meters, and up to 6 feet high, or 1.8 meters, and can weigh up to 550 pounds. That's a lot of Halloween candy, that's for sure. Now, you guys, they mainly ranged from 6 feet all the way up to 15 feet for our Dimetrodon. They're coming in all kinds of sizes, but the largest one's up to 15 feet long, and the smallest one of the Dimetrodons, you guys, was a species only 24 inches in length. That's only 2 rulers, or 2 feet, and it only weighed 31 pounds. So you could for sure have a Dimetrodon, the smallest species, inside of like a terrarium, and you could have one as a pet at home. So again, our Dimetrodon, the largest, 15 feet long, 6 feet high, and they get high because of that sail on their back that we'll get to in just a minute. Now, how fast was this creature? What was the speed of our Dimetrodon? Well, it's very unknown. This one is living before the dinosaurs. We don't simply know how fast this creature was. It was a quadrupedal creature. That means it's walking on 4 legs. And what I did was I looked at the Komodo dragon, a lizard, a reptile that lives today. And I saw that they can do short little sprints up to 30 miles per hour. But they're mainly going to be in the teens, you guys, for maybe 13, 14, 15 miles per hour. And if they needed to do a big attack or something, they could do a sprint up to 30 miles per hour as they're trying to catch their prey, or maybe looking for some Reese's, Skittles, or Starburst to eat on Halloween night. But back to our Dimetrodon, since this one can be 350 pounds heavier than an adult Komodo dragon, it's probably not going as fast. Maybe only 10 miles per hour, and then it can do a sprint maybe up to 18 miles per hour as it's looking for those really good candy bars. Now, what weapons or defense did this creature have? What did our Dimetrodon look like? Well, it has a very lizard-like appearance, but as I mentioned earlier, it's actually more closely related to mammals because of that one skull opening. Now, it has a massive 5-foot sail on its back, and that really gives it a lot of that prehistoric lookness, you know? Everybody thinks it is a dinosaur because it has that sail on its back, just like the Spinosaurus. But Dimetrodon, nowhere near related to the Spinosaurus, even though they both have sails. So a very lizard-like appearance. If you think of a lizard that lives today, think of the Dimetrodon and then put like a Spinosaurus sail on its back that could be 5 feet tall. Now, just like the Spinosaurus, the sail of the Dimetrodon is made out of back vertebrae that go vertically out of their backbone or their spine. It's covered in somewhat of a leathery skin, giving it its true sail appearance of our Dimetrodon. Now, what was it used for? Why did they have that sail? And we have a bunch of different theories. First, display. Maybe they're using it to tell each other apart. Intimidation. Maybe it's making them look larger and it's scaring some of those other carnivores away. Maybe they're using it for mating so they can attract a mate, you guys. Or maybe even temperature regulation. They could be absorbing the sunlight, that heat, you guys, and that could be helping them live all throughout the day. Because we believe that the Dimetrodon might be a cold-blooded creature. And if you think of cold-blooded animals today, all those reptiles, they live more down in southern habitats where it's warmer, you guys. They're absorbing the energy from the sun to keep their bodies warm throughout the day so they can do everyday things like going trick-or-treating, carving pumpkins, doing all kinds of Halloween fun. Now, we should talk about their tall, narrow, and triangular-shaped skull. So when you look at their head, it kind of is very tall, it's narrow, kind of shaped like a triangle a little bit. Nowhere near a pumpkin, that's for sure. Now, their skull, you guys, only has one skull opening, or one set of fenestra, and that's what's making them a synapsid. They're more closely related to mammals than any reptile or dinosaurs. Now, when we mentioned that their name means 2 measures of teeth. That's because they have 2 different types of serrated teeth. They have the grabbers and the shredders. They're apex predators. In the front, they have their grabbers. They're catching all kinds of rhesus cups, all kinds of prey, you guys, like our Scutosaurus that I have here in my science lab. It's as orange as a pumpkin. And I really wanted to do an episode on our Scutosaurus this season, but I didn't want to do too many non-dinosaurs. Since we already did the Archelon, you guys, we're doing the Dimetrodon today. I didn't want to do the Scutosaurus in the same season, but it's definitely a pretty cool Permian period creature that our Dimetrodon would have hunted long ago. Now, like I said, 2 different sets of teeth, you guys. Grabbers in the front for grabbing prey, shredders in the back to shred all that meat, all that Halloween candy. They are the apex predator of their day. Now, their body is somewhat scaly, they probably believe. We don't find any scale impressions of our Dimetrodon or any skin impressions, like I said, but we believe that it probably was somewhat scaly, like maybe reptiles that we see today. They have arched legs with 5-fingered claws on each foot. So their legs are a little bit arched, they're a little bit out to the sides like other reptiles. They're making somewhat of an arch with their legs, or kind of like a U shape if you were looking at the bottom of their bodies. Now, they have those 5-fingered claws on each foot and a long tail behind them that makes up a lot of their body length. Very lizard-like in appearance with that massive sail on their back that could have been used for all kinds of different things. Now, where did this creature live and how long did this genus live back during prehistoric times? Well, the Dimetrodon is coming in at about 295 to 272 million million years ago during the early Permian period. So they're already extinct by the time of the PT extinction. And they're living in the Paleozoic era, which means past life. Mesozoic era means middle life, and Cenozoic era means present life. So our Dimetrodon living before the dinosaurs. Now they find it in southwestern North America and even over in Europe in the country of Germany. Now here in North America where I live, Dinosaur Ranger Anthony or the Mad Dentist Dr. Dimetrodon, they find it in southwestern United States from New Mexico, Oklahoma, and even Texas. So maybe they could be a cowboy like I'm being for Halloween this year. I'm being a 90s country star like Blake Shelton. I've got my brown mullet wig, a cowboy hat, a 90s kind of weird pattern shirt, and an awesome belt buckle. It looks so good. I'm singing Austin and Old Red, all kinds of Blake Shelton songs. And if you want to see a picture of me in my Halloween costume, then head over to Facebook and search Stomp Chomp Roar, and you'll see my Halloween post of me in my Halloween costume. But that's enough about my Halloween costume. Where was the Dimetrodon found? What year? They found the Dimetrodon in 1845, and it was named in 1878 by Edward Drinker Cope, and he's famous as one of the paleontologists from the Bone Wars. Now, Edward Cope named this one the 2 measures of teeth because it had 2 different sizes of teeth in its mouth. Remember the grabbers and the shredders. Now, there's tons of different creatures that have all different kinds of teeth, but this is one of the earliest creatures where Edward Cope found that had 2 different types of teeth in its mouth, and that's how it got its name, the 2 measures of teeth, or the Dimetrodon. Now, the holotype, you guys, that was named the Dimetrodon was found in the red beds of Texas. But there's actually another specimen that they found even earlier over in the Prince Edward Island, a territory of Canada, that they first named something entirely different, but then later on realized it was a Dimetrodon. So we find it all over North America. Now, like I said earlier, our Dimetrodon preyed on that Scutosaurus, a very cool looking Permian creature that was a herbivore, had all kinds of horns on its chin, you guys. It makes it look like some kind of beard, or maybe a bearded wizard creature that lived with our Dimetrodon long ago. Now, we also find tracks in Oklahoma that suggest that our Dimetrodon might have had more of an upright stance, you guys, rather than rubbing their bellies and their tail down on the ground as they were walking around their environments. Now, you guys, let's give a quick recap before we give our official score on our Dimetrodon. Our Dimetrodon, you guys, up to 15 feet long, up to 6 feet high, with that 5-foot sail. They can weigh 550 pounds. The biggest, 15 feet, the smallest, only 24 inches. The speed is unknown, but probably around 15 miles per hour, and maybe some 30-mile-per-hour sprints as they're looking for food. Our Dimetrodon, very lizard-like. Think of the Komodo dragon, but with a sail on its back. They have a tall and narrow triangular shaped skull, you guys, 1 set of fenestra, 2 different types of teeth, the grabbers and the shredders for shredding all kinds of meat. So probably a scaly body, arched legs with 5-fingered claws on each foot, and a long tail behind them that dragged across the bedrock, you guys, as they were looking for all kinds of food to eat, or maybe even that Halloween candy. And it lived back during the early Permian period, so no, it is not a dinosaur. But how are we going to review it or rate it with the dinosaurs? This was very, very hard. One of the hardest scores I've had to give on the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast. Our Dimetrodon is the apex predator of its time. So in the Permian period, this one easily gets in the 9s with all those Permian period creatures. It is the apex predator, the greatest carnivore of its day. But when we put it up against dinosaurs, should it really get a 9.0 against the dinosaurs? I don't think so. That would just be too spooky. So it has to drop down a little bit, and then a little bit, and then maybe a little bit more. Because at the end of the day, day when we ring the doorbell and we say, trick or treat, smell my feet, give us a Dimetrodon to eat, I have to give our Dimetrodon, you guys. Let me grab my keyboard. We're going to give it a 7.5. A 7.5 for the Dimetrodon, the 2 measures of teeth for eating all kinds of candy on Halloween night. It's the apex predator, as we know, but against the dinosaurs, it only gets a 7.5. So, ding dong, trick or treat, that is our Dimetrodon, a 7.5 on the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast. Now, how was that visit with Dr. Dimetrodon? Did this Permian period creature score high enough score to be your full-time dentist? I surely hope so. Now, this creature isn't a dinosaur like I mentioned, but it's still a pretty cool creature with its massive sail and its 2 types of teeth. A 7.5 is perfect for those pearly whites of the Dimetrodon. Now, as you remember, after each review this season, I'm doing a short interview with one of my Patreon club members. So let's head back to the dentist chair for some x-rays and meet another junior dinosaur ranger. Now today I'm joined by an amazing Patreon club member. This junior dinosaur ranger loves to do all kinds of experiments, art projects, and likes playing basketball. I was also honored to be part of their birthday party virtually last year. So let's all give a big hello to junior dinosaur ranger Grayson. Welcome, Grayson. How are you doing today?
Great.
Good, awesome. Are you excited?
Yes, super.
Perfect. Well, first things first, I always like to ask, are you team herbivore or team carnivore?
Both.
Both? They're super cool, huh? But what if you had to pick one? Do you like the plant eaters or the meat eaters?
The meat eaters.
The meat eaters? Or what about the candy eaters?
Us.
Did dinosaurs eat candy?
No.
Probably not, huh? And maybe that's really why they went extinct. Now, what's your favorite dinosaur?
I have, can I say 2 favorites?
Yeah, you can for sure.
I like the Spinosaurus. He's back there.
The Spinosaurus
And
Yes.
whatever this one's called, I don't exactly know.
Yeah, I think that one might be like the Sauropelta. It's a type of Ankylosaurus.
Cool.
Yeah, and that one has those big spikes on its back, huh?
Yeah.
Why do you think you like the Spinosaurus so much?
Because of his sail and he can swim.
They do have a cool sail, kind of like the Dimetrodon that I talked about in today's podcast episode. And we'll get to that here in just a minute. But what's your favorite dinosaur memory? Do you have a favorite museum or a favorite book or a movie? When you think about dinosaurs, what do you always think of first as your favorite memory? There's just so many, huh?
I think of Jurassic World being right here, right now.
That would be totally fun. Would you go to Jurassic World?
Yes.
Awesome. I think I would too. It would just be tons of fun. Now, on today's episode, I gave the Dimetrodon right here with that sailback a 7.5 on the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast. Do you think that was a good score for this Permian period apex predator?
Yes.
That's 7.5. Perfect. Do you like the Dimetrodon?
Yes.
They kind of have a sail like a Spinosaurus, huh?
Yeah, except they walk on 4 legs all
That's
the
right.
time.
That's right. They're quadrupedal. They're walking on all 4 legs, huh? Now, since we talked about Halloween candy on today's podcast, what's your favorite kind of Halloween candy? What do you like to eat the most? I got a candy bowl right here. Do you see it? All kinds of candy in it.
I mostly like Dum-Dum.
The Dum-Dums? Those are
especially the root beer flavor.
And then they get stuck in your teeth. They probably would have got stuck in our Dimetrodon's teeth too, huh?
They don't get stuck in my teeth.
And then you'd have to grab your toothbrush. Is this your toothbrush?
No.
That's pretty big, huh? Hey, but what are you being for Halloween again this year?
Optimus Prime. It's
Optimus
a new costume.
Prime.
At first, I had a bumblebee costume. Then it got too little, so
Aw.
then I got an Optimus Prime costume.
Very cool. Autobots, unite! Very cool.
Autobots, roll out!
Roll out Autobots, or what about those Dinobots? Now, I forgot to tell you, my favorite Halloween candy, I love Reese's and Skittles. I like Starburst, too. Those are some of my favorite Halloween candies.
Some mine too, except the what are those rainbow-colored ones called that you just held up?
The Skittles?
Yeah,
Skittles
those I've
taste
had them
rainbow?
before, but they got stuck in my teeth.
Oh, man, then you had to floss your teeth, get your toothbrush out. Oh, so are you excited to go trick-or-treating tomorrow?
Yes.
Are you going to get tons of candy?
I don't know.
What do you think the T-Rex's favorite candy would have been?
Dinosaurs wrapped in jello.
Dinosaurs wrapped in Jell-O? That would have been wild, huh?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me for today, Grayson. Did you have tons of fun?
Yes.
Awesome. Now, is there any last roars you want to say to our listeners? Any last words or roars?
Yes.
What would you like to say?
I'm new to this podcast, so I've never been here before, and I'm glad I'm here today.
Awesome. Well, I was super excited to have you for today's episode, okay? Well, thank you so much for joining me for today, Grayson, and I can't wait to see you on our next virtual lesson, and I hope you and your family have an amazing day, okay? And a happy Halloween! I'll see you later, okay?
Okay, bye.
Bye now. Now, if you're interested in becoming a junior dinosaur ranger, then visit my Patreon club. Just go ahead and search patreon.com/StompChompRoar. Now, right now, we're working on 2 virtual lessons for the month of November. The first one is how to survive the dinosaurs, and the second one is Ranger Giving, Dinosaur Feast and Movie Watch Party to celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday in the month of November. So go ahead and join my Patreon club and take advantage of those 2 virtual lessons. Now let's get to our joke and question of the day. First off, our joke as always, what is the dentist's favorite dinosaur? What could your dentist's favorite dinosaur be? Well, you guys, I've got one actually sitting right here. It's the Velociraptor. Get it? It's the Flossiraptor and not the Velociraptor. I've got a Velociraptor right here all wrapped up in all kinds of floss. It even kind of looks like a mummy for a Halloween. It's the Velociraptor, the mad mummy dinosaur. But you guys, I think it's for sure it wouldn't be that Dimetrodon, because as we learned today, the Dimetrodon is technically not even a real dinosaur. But regardless though, it's still a pretty cool prehistoric creature. Now let's get to our question of the day. Now, scientists believe there has been 5 mass extinctions in our Earth's ginormous lifetime, and the biggest one was at the end of the Permian period, and it's called the PT extinction or the Great Dying. Scientists estimate that 95% of water creatures and 70% of land animals went extinct. That is madness. 95% of water creatures, 70% of land animals went extinct. Now, ultimately, this brought the rise to the dinosaurs. But think about all the creatures that have called our planet home. How many different species have there been? And how many simply just never fossilized? Isn't it just mind-blowing that there could be so many animals of the world that just simply never fossilized and we'll never know that they actually lived here on our planet? So hey, here's a little art project for you. Why don't you draw a picture of a creature that might have lived on our planet millions of years ago, but we've never found its fossils? That would just be wild. So why don't you go ahead and draw one of those prehistoric creatures? Now remember, my name is Dinosaur Ranger Anthony, your mad dentist, Dr. Dimetrodon, at the Permian period Dentistry, as we talked about today's prehistoric creature, the 2 measures of teeth, the Dimetrodon, a very cool Permian period creature, and technically not even a real dinosaur. But as always, keep digging for dinosaurs, and don't forget to floss and brush your teeth, because you're going to have tons of Halloween candy. Bwahahahaha! Have a happy Halloween!
Wow.